All right, Nick, let's talk about a team we talk about all the time. It's one of the most, I would say, popular up and coming teams in the NFL. They seem to have taken a step back last year, but then instantly regained all of the momentum, and they seem like a legitimate potential playoff contender again this year. Drafted incredibly well this past season. And of course, we're talking about none other than the Pittsburgh Steelers. Once owner of the Killer Bees, now potentially the owner of the Killer Peas. I'm saying it here first, so when it catches on, people will know that it was my idea. But the Pickett Pickens connection is going to be one to watch for a long time here. But yep, that's what we're going to talk about today. Kenny Pickett has really gained some traction, looked very strong in the preseason training camp and all of the early on portions of the season. And he's really kind of making an argument on whether or not he should start. And before we get into our story, I want the Steelers fans, listen up, hear me out real quick. Don't even think about it. Go to the comment section below and tell me, who do you think the starter should be at quarterback, Trubisky or Pickett? Just shoot from the hip. Tell me your gut reaction. Who do you want to start at quarterback this season? But Nick, who do you want to start at quarterback this season? What's your thought?
Trubisky. I'm just going to that. I'm going to why. But first, well, actually, who do you want? What's your quick one?
I want to see Pickett.
Okay, there you go. But I'll go into the story real quick, and then we'll take a deeper dive. So this is according to ESPN. The NFL and ESPN Twitter account shared Kenny Pickett becoming the starter in Pittsburgh may be all but inevitable. They quoted NFL insider Adam Schefter. I know it's Adam Schefter, but he's still the insider.
He knows that.
Yeah. Quote, essentially, as soon as Mitchell Trubisky has a stumble, that will open the door to get to Kenny Pickett. When you talk to people now, here's what you keep hearing, that the young kid is coming on and he's coming quick. I don't know when they will get to Kenny Pickett, but they will get to Kenny Pickett. And to follow that up, it's not just Schefter saying that. According to Fan Nation, All Steelers, they said Kenny Pickett can win the job with his with a strong performance in the final preseason game against the Detroit Lions. A week ago, this competition was close, but today Pickett has more of an opportunity to walk away the winner than he has the entire offseason. It'll all come down to the final exhibition game. That's according to Fan Nation, All Steelers. All right, Maya, so I've got a few thoughts on this, but I want to pass it back over to you. What do you think of this whole Pickett-Trubisky Steelers situation? What do you think they should do, and what do you think they are doing?
Well, I think I should temper my response slightly. I think I want to see Pickett with a caveat of I want Pickett to earn it, and I don't want him at least to start like the first game of the season. Maybe game 4 is where I'd like to see him come in. If Trubisky's already thrown for like 900 yards for the first 3 games, you keep him
Right,
there.
yeah. If he's playing well, you don't bench him.
Yeah, but if he's doing mediocre, put in Pickett. Let's see how it goes. But I like what Pickett's done so far. I think that he has the potential. And I will say, I listened to this one podcast a while back, and there's these 2 really smart hosts who talked about how coming into the draft that Kenny Pickett seemed like the only pro-ready quarterback to start. The Steelers knew that. The Steelers drafted him. And if you go back through our history, you can watch all the stories that we've posted on the Steelers. We've been talking about Pickett as a pro-ready guy to come into the Steelers and Matt Canada's offense and really just take over the reins. He's the guy that's ready to go now. So I like Pickett. I like what he's been doing, and he's really impressed me through the preseason. I think that he's a guy you're going to have to worry about. He reminds me of, a Joe Burrow guy, not in the play style necessarily, but with the confidence that he comes in and moves the ball. You're out there and you're like, wow, this guy's got a little swagger to how he plays the game. He's ready. He doesn't seem timid. He wants to go after it. So far, I'm really impressed. I really like him. But let's get into a little bit of Pickett's stats for early on.
Yeah, go ahead and pull it up. And obviously, as everyone has seen, Pickett's been incredibly impressive. And just looking at that completion percentage, 19 of 22, that's staggeringly high. The yardage is fine. 3 scores, no interceptions, a little bit of rushing yards, and a whole lot there. That's not really going to be in his game in the NFL. He's had the game-winning score against the Seattle Seahawks. He's led multiple touchdown drives. He's managed the game very well. He's done a lot of things exceptionally well in the preseason. There's no doubt about that. However, I have 3 caveats the Steelers have to, and I'm pretty sure they will consider when it comes to making a decision to go to Kenny Pickett or Mitch Trubisky. Number 1, there cannot be a noticeable gap in performance between Pickett and Trubisky. So if you look at it practice, if Pickett looks a little bit worse than Trubisky over the course of practices, but you like his upside and his development, you cannot start him, because when you have a veteran locker room and a veteran culture like the Steelers have, players notice that and see that. When I played in college, anytime there was like a young freshman came on the scene and looked good and looked like he was growing well, but he wasn't up to a veteran player's performance yet, and a coach played him early, it would always drag down the locker room. The coaches would feel like the players would feel like the coaches weren't evaluating him fairly. They just wanted to put young guys in. It can kind of divide a locker room. That can't happen. So unless Pickett is at or above Trubisky's level in practice, you go with Trubisky. Number 2, I think this is where I differ from you a lot. I think whoever you start week 1, regardless of performance, that is your starter the rest of the year. Okay, because if you don't want to go back and forth and waffle, because that creates a lot of instability. I look at what the Patriots did with Mac Jones, right? They started Mac, they cut Cam Newton, right? They knew that Mac Jones was ready. They had gotten their data, they had done their research, and they rolled the dice and they committed with him. Remember, the Patriots last year started 2-4. It was a struggle. They finished and made the playoffs. They could have stuck with Cam Newton on the roster and maybe benched and gone back and forth. That would not have been right for the Patriots. Would not have been right for Mac Jones. The opposite would be the 49ers. They had Jimmy G. They drafted Trey Lance after going through training camp. Like, hey, we're going with Jimmy G. He gives us the best chance to win. Trey Lance's time will come. They didn't waffle. Jimmy G got hurt, missed a few games. Trey Lance stepped in as the backup, but they went back to Jimmy G. I think the Steelers need to follow that model. They can't go back and forth. If Trubisky starts 2 games, does not really as well as they'd like, they can't go to Pickett. They have to commit to their guys, because they have to show either to Trubisky and to Pickett that the coaches have their back and they're not just willing to yank the guy the first chance they get if they don't have a good game.
Yeah, no, I agree with that completely. And this brings me back to like a couple seasons ago. And this is what it reminds me of, is the iteration of when Ben went down, he was hurt. You had Mason Rudolph and Devlin Hodges. Started off Rudolph, Hodges came in, Hodges underperformed. They put Rudolph back in. It was a back and forth. I don't want that to be the case. And I do agree with you there. But here's the thing. I think if Trubisky underperforms or is just whelming, he's like middle of the road, and Pickett is picking it up and continuing to be good in practice, I think it would be nice to get him in here. But my one caveat, and this is what I'll leave it at, is I think before you put Pickett in, you got to commit by getting rid of one of the other guys. You either got to trade Trubisky, trade Rudolph, or cut him, whatever you got to do, because having 3 guys in there who could potentially be a starter for your team isn't going to be good for the confidence of a rookie going in there. You got to put them in there with a little bit of oomph, like, hey, you're the guy, we trust you. You got to back up in case you get injured, but we trust you. It's your job to lose. So go out there and play your heart out. So that's how I think it should go. All right, Nick, it's time to get your internet privacy back today on every device you own in any country you want. Don't let anyone but you control your internet. NordVPN keeps you safe from prying eyes wherever you go online with their military-grade encryption. Is your favorite Netflix or streaming content blocked in the US? You can simply connect to one of the many countries available with NordVPN and get the access you need.
That's right, Maya. So right now, get our exclusive NordVPN deal here at nordvpn.com/SMI. It's risk-free now with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. Again, get that exclusive deal, nordvpn.com/SMI.